Hi, this is Nev again, the fourth video in our series on building a website from a template. We're going to do image manipulation today, and of course I've got my trusty Word document open. I'm going to view it in Web View. Alright, so I've got the steps. These are all the previous videos, we don't want to look at those. Let's go down here. First, what we have to do is optimize the size of our images. So I'll probably just talk from this document first. For most images, well, particularly something like a logo, you are going to want a tiny one. Actually, I might go back to the file for a minute. Let's open our portfolio. Now, I've actually got to run two because I've got the standard, which is what everyone is going to download. I'm going to open this file so we can see it here on the web, and there is a small logo up there. So that little one, which doesn't have all of the writing on it, we want to have that little one. Let's go into the image folder, and you can see my small one is sitting here, and I've got two more over here. I've got a 200 by 100 and I've got a 700 by 350. Let's look at those in detail view so that we can see the actual sizes here a little more clearly. I have got my file extensions on so that I can just check, although I tend to write the JPG and the PNG in the names as well. Okay, because this is a training website, it's going to be easier for us this way. Here are my sizes. In my case, we're going to swap the video today, and you can see that the JPEG is only 24, whereas the PNG is 83. In most cases, the PNG is smaller, but it seems for my video that's the reverse. You'll notice up here for that photo of the Jaguar, they're different sizes, so we can't compare those. Here, here's the Jaguar. They are exactly the same size, and again the JPEG is smaller. So it's best to if you're optimizing your website, to pick the smallest out of those two. So you can view your images. Okay, if we want to change an image size, we can open it in Dreamweaver. We can open it in Paint. This is probably the quickest way. So open with Paint, and we will see the image size dimensions down here. Let's make this a little smaller, and if I want to manipulate the size of this, I'm just going to go to Image, Resize, and add in the different sizes that I want. I tend to work in pixels, so if I wanted a tiny one here, I could just put in 100, and you'll notice that the vertical shifts as well. If I want to distort the image, I could put in 40, unacceptable, 40, and you will see that the image is very distorted, but it is small. So Paint is a good, we don't want to save that. Paint is a good little editor for mucking around with your video sizes. Let's keep going. So we can open with Paint. We've just done that. We've just done a resize, and this was a 5-minute logo that I made just so that we could do this lesson today. Okay, that 5-minute logo is sitting here. When I was finished, I saved it. I should have shown you the save, but I saved it as both a JPEG and then a BMP, then a PNG. We definitely don't want to use BMPs. Okay. What we want to do now is open this up in Dreamweaver. So we'll go back here and open our index file with Dreamweaver. It takes a little minute to open. While I'm doing that, I will have a look here. What I'm going to do is check my site setup. If you're on a different computer, you may not have a site setup done at all. But it's essential that you're in the right portfolio, particularly for me where I've got two. I've got the portfolio and I've got the portfolio D for demo. Okay, so I need to check that. anyone, yeah, so that's there. All right, let me check that right now. For me, I'm actually in portfolio demo because I don't want to wreck my main portfolio, but for you, you probably want it in your portfolio. Okay, we have got our index file open. If you're working with other files, it's a good idea to close everything else so that you're not in the wrong file and reopen it from here. Okay, if you do not have the right address up there, you'll want to go to the site, manage sites, and mine is already set, but you can, if you haven't got a site at all, then set up a new one. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel that. Alright, so those sites are absolutely critical. Can't say enough about those. Alright, so we're going to click on our logo and we will see the code come up there. We can also see that that address there, I'm not sure why I used the 700, but anyway, that 700 is down here. The B Wattle logo, the black wattle logo, 700 by 350 is the address down here. So I can manipulate everything from down here, or I can work directly in the code up here. Notice that it brings up that little thumbnail as well when I roll over in the code. That's much more convenient than working in Visual Studio. Let's go back here. So I have clicked on that and I can see that code. For anyone working in Visual Studio, same story. You click on the logo and you will see the code. It's not, you haven't got the whiz bangs. Alright, now we have to manipulate our Alt tag so that the vision impaired people can hear from their screen reader what's going on. And we might also want to look at that rollover. Let's go look at our site and see if the rollover works. If I roll over here, I get a little pop-up saying SSC, that's Sydney Secondary College logo. So we know that that's working, and we're going to see where that comes from. So that title, SSC logo, comes from the title, and it can be set here in the properties if you don't like mucking around with the code directly. The Alt tag is set here and appears up here as the Alt tag. So that is great. Alright, now we are going to change from images logo. Now the reason it's images is because everything is sitting in the images folder. Good, tidy. I don't know whether you have tidy rooms, but your website should be nice and tidy with all the images sitting in there. So this is a relative reference. It does not go from the C drive because somebody looking on the web is going to have different filing system. It is relative. It's relative to the index file where you're looking at it, and from there we go up one folder into the images and we find our file. Let's come back here. So we are going to change this. Alright, so I'm going to do that in the properties box, and you guys can change it wherever you like. Now the other beautiful thing about Dreamweaver is I don't actually have to do the code. I can click that there and it automatically takes me into the images folder. If I have a different folder, I can go back to that, but it's only going to bring up images, so it doesn't bring up anything in the main folder. We are going to pick the JPEG here because we know that the JPEG is smaller. So I double click and bingo, I have got the correct address there. We look up here and we see that it has now changed. Alright, we are going to change this and we're going to say this is the logo for Nev. And the minute I tab out of here, we will see that it's changed up in the code. And now I'm going to say I want to make this the title for, the title is going to be Nev's logo. Done. Can't see it on the screen, but the minute I tab out of that, it is in there. Alright, now I want to go and Oh yes, I need to muck around with the size. Let's go have a quick peek at it though and make sure that it's working. So my constant is control, right. So if we look at the web, it's not changed, right. By the way, this is not the web, this is the local version. Okay, so I'm going to go Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, F5 for refresh, and there it is. And that's going to be my standard. Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, F5, or you can run them side by side if your screen is big enough. Alright, now that is stuck in rigid boundaries. It is set here at 400, and you can see it 400 there by 300. Do I need that? Well, if I've optimized my images correctly, no, I don't need that. I know that my image is, oh, it's already 400 by 300. Oh, okay. So it's not going to make any difference. But we would normally see the image go to its normal size. So I'm going to change that up there. For some reason I've lost my, there's my properties. You'll see that the properties have actually gone blank here. I certainly didn't want to put 0, down here. Okay, so let's Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, F5, and there is no change because it was already 400 by 300. Let's just go here and do 400 by 200. Tab 200. Why didn't it do it? 200. Tab, and it's going to put those back in up here. What happened then? 400. Tab. Okay, let's look at it now. 400 by 200. It should have squished it a bit. Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, and F5. As I push it, there's no change. Why is not? Why is there no change? Because it's still 400 by 300. Sorry, I'm messing this up. 400 by 200. Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, F5. There, squished it. So any images that you put on the screen, if you limit their dimensions, you are likely to distort them. Okay, and so we are done here. I'm just going to go through the upload of this. I'm going to take that back out again. So I'm going to take it back out from the code, width and height. So personally, I do not use width and height unless I have to. Ctrl+S, click on that. Yep, maybe there should be a space in there, but it looks like it's still working. Still happy with it. Oh, there was an error there, so it did need that space. Okay. By the way, there's another error here. I think I fixed this in another video, but see this error here? Oh, tag must be paired. No starting tag. Okay, so I do not want that because there's no starting tag, and we'll leave that little bit of white space, or I can take that bit of white space out. Okay, so there's now no errors here. So have got, let me just check, Ctrl+S, Alt+Tab, F5. Okay, that is done. So we know we're ready to commit this up into GitHub. Alright, we'll see here that we have got one file which is modified. Let's stage it. So now it's staged. Changed logo, so index. Okay, and we are done with that. It is now going to stage it. We can see that we've got one push that we can do. I'm just going to check before I do this. I'm just going to check that I am sending it, because I'm running two. Yes, I'm sending it to portfolio demo. I'm not sending it to my main portfolio, so that's okay. Alright, so let's go this again. The name and password is in there. I could check it if I want to, but I'm just going to say okay. It's running through the compression. It's done. It's successful. Okay, so let's go have a look at that. I have not Alt+Tab. I'm going to get to it from here, from my. Now this one is live. There, I am on GitHub. Still got the old logo, but if I refresh, there it is. So it just took a few minutes to get from the commit to the repository. Now this also should be set to your repository, so but it's not. That's the wrong address. I need to go to the repository. I won't do that now, but I can check in the repository for the let me think, for the commit and the actual old code and the new code. Alright, so we'll finish this video here.